Are you someone who picked a stocks and shares ISA and never questioned if it's actually the best one? The difference between platforms could be costing you hundreds, even thousands of pounds over time. So in this video, I've ranked 11 of the most popular UK ISA platforms from worst to best, and the results might surprise you. If you're new here, welcome to Effortless Investor, where we keep investing simple, realistic, and you guessed it, effortless. Today, we're ranking the best stocks and shares ISA platforms in the UK, looking at fees, features, usability, and more to figure out which one actually comes out on top. So without any more rambling, let's get into it. If you're new to investing and you're unsure, let's start with what is a stocks and shares ISA. In simple terms, it's a tax-efficient account that lets you invest your money into things like stocks, ETFs, and funds, without paying capital gains tax or tax on dividends. Each year you get an allowance, which is currently £20,000, that you can invest within this wrapper. And over time, that tax-free growth can make a huge difference. But, and this is where today's video comes in, the platform you choose to invest through matters more than most people realize. And so, here's a list of the platforms we're ranking today. Some of these are modern, low-cost apps. Others are more traditional platforms with a much wider range of investments. Now, to rank these platforms fairly, I've scored them across a range of categories, including fees, FX charges, investment availability, user experience, customer support, and more. For each category, I've awarded 3 points for first place, 2 points for second, and 1 point for third. Then we're going to total everything up to get a final ranking, and hopefully deliver us with a unanimous best stocks and shares ISA. Before we move on to the findings, I do want to stress that none of these platforms are sponsoring this video. Although I do use some of these platforms, I tried my best to avoid any unfair favoritism. This is purely based on publicly available data, combined with my own research and comparisons. And as always, make sure you do your own research before you choose a platform. So let's get into the data. I'll go through each category, highlighting the key differences and highlight the top performers along the way. Starting with account fees, this is one of the biggest factors that investors focus on, especially if you're investing smaller amounts. Almost half of the platforms offer completely free ISAs, including Trading 212, InvestEngine, Freetrade, and Lightyear, meaning no platform fees just for holding your investments. On the other hand, more traditional providers like Hargreaves Lansdown, AJ Bell, and Fidelity charge a percentage-based fee, typically between 0.25% and 0.5%. That might not sound like much, but over time, especially as your portfolio grows, that can add up significantly. To round it out, Interactive Investor charges a flat fee per month. So for this category, the low-cost platforms take the top spots. Next, we move on to FX fees, which apply when you're buying international stocks or ETFs. This is an area where the differences are quite significant. InvestEngine and Vanguard take center stage here with zero FX fees on ETFs, which is a massive advantage for long-term investors and users of their platforms. Lightyear has recently lowered their FX fees to just 0.1%, and Trading 212 comes in third at 0.15%, which is still very competitive. Compare that to the remaining platforms, some of whom are charging closer to 1%. And again, over time, that really eats into returns. Now looking at transaction fees, the cost of actually buying and selling investments, and once again, what some might consider the more modern platforms dominate the rankings. More than half of the platforms we ranked offer zero transaction fees, which is ideal if you're investing regularly. Whereas platforms like Hargreaves Lansdown, AJ Bell, and Fidelity can charge anywhere from around £7 to £12 per trade, which if you're lump sum investing is fine, but if you're one of the many regular monthly contributors, those fees can really eat into your gains. Second and third place went to IG and Interactive Investor respectively, with transaction fees in the £3 to £4 area. The next category is where things start to shift a bit as we look at the number of investments or assets available on each platform. This was one of the categories that had a clear-cut winner, with Interactive Investor offering a massive 40,000 plus assets, including stocks, funds, and ETFs. AJ Bell offers a very respectable, in comparison, 16,000 plus assets to choose from, and snatching third place in this category was Trading 212, with over 13,000 assets. So if you want maximum flexibility and choice, these platforms really stand out. On the other end of the spectrum, platforms like InvestEngine and Vanguard offer a much smaller, more focused selection. But that's actually by design. They're built for investors who prefer simplicity and a more passive approach. In Vanguard's case, they only offer their own funds, hence the low number of available assets. Next, we move on to what is considered a more modern way of investing, fractional shares, which allows you to buy a portion of a share rather than the whole thing. This type of investing only became more prominent in the late 2010s after advancements in the fintech industry. And it is especially useful if you're investing smaller amounts, which can often be the case for beginner investors and those with low disposable income. As this is really a pass-fail category, 5 of the assets share the top of the ranking, including Trading 212, Lightyear, Freetrade, InvestEngine, and Vanguard, all offering the function to purchase fractional shares. The rest of the platforms sadly do not. Next, we're going to look at what is becoming an increasingly important factor for investors, and that's interest on uninvested cash. With interest rates rising, this has become a bit of a hidden benefit, and as time goes on, may become a factor that platforms use to gain an edge on their competition. Surprisingly, XTB offers the best interest on cash rate, at the time of recording at least, at 4%. Trading 212 offers the second highest rate of 3.8%, and third place is shared between Lightyear and IG, who both currently offer a 3.75% interest rate on uninvested cash. The rest of the platforms either offer rates below inflation, with some not offering interest on cash at all. However, 2 of those platforms offer fractional shares, so there is an argument for why would they need to provide interest on uninvested cash. Now, this next category isn't for everyone. Some just want a stocks and shares ISA and that's it. But if you're the type of investor who likes the flexibility of having multiple accounts on one platform, this category holds a high value. The top spot was in this instance unanimous, with Interactive Investor offering ISAs, SIPs, LISAs, GIAs, junior ISAs. You can get a sense of why the platform is popular with its users. Hargreaves Lansdown is another strong provider offering a full range of accounts including SIPs, LISAs and junior ISAs, and ultimately takes second place in this category. Followed closely in third by AJ Bell, Freetrade, Fidelity and Vanguard, all of whom offer various other accounts, not as many as H&L or Interactive Investor, but more than the remaining platforms, all of which offer at least a general investment account or a CFD. This is an area where those more traditional platforms really shine. Now, the next element may be one that we don't think of until after we open the account, but it's a really important one that can give a bad impression if done badly, and that's user interface. It's unsurprising that the more modern looking platforms have a better user interface, although that is subjective. Some users may prefer the more traditional browser-based interface you will see when accessing the platforms from your desktop PC or your laptop. Others will prefer an interface through a mobile phone app. When ranking this category, I try to focus on what would suit most people, specifically beginners, so ease of use became paramount. With that said, the top spot went to the newest platform on the market, Lightyear. It appears really intuitive and easy to read, particularly the graphs, which ultimately gave it a slight edge over second place, which is Trading 212. Third place was shared between Freetrade and InvestEngine. The newer platforms do appear more intuitive, which I think benefits all users, not just beginners. Moving on to the next section, customer support. is an area where the more established platforms tend to stand out. This is one of those features again that we don't really think about, as we only generally need to use it when things go wrong. With that in mind, when ranking I leaned more towards platforms that offer phone support, simply because chatbots and email tend to not be urgent methods of communication. And it's no surprise that the more established platforms all offer phone support, and thus the top spot is shared between AJ Bell, Hargreaves Lansdown, and Interactive Investor. Second place is then shared between Fidelity International and IG, with Vanguard and XTB sharing third place in the ranking. Whereas most app-based platforms rely primarily on chat or email support. Sticking with the customer satisfaction angle, next we're going to use Trustpilot to see how each platform stacks up. Top spot went to AJ Bell with a 4.9 rating. Second spot was shared between InvestEngine, Lightyear and Vanguard with a 4.7 rating. And third place was shared between Fidelity and Trading 212, both with a 4.6 rating. All the remaining platforms scored above 4.3, with the exception of IG, who scored a rather disappointing 3.8 rating, and XTB, who have had their ratings suspended due to an investigation into fake reviews. So, after scoring each of these categories, let's take a look at the final results. After adding everything up, here are the top 3 platforms, starting with third place, which went to InvestEngine, a strong option for beginner investors or anyone focused solely on long-term ETF investing. It scored the best among platforms from a fees perspective, offering no account, FX, or transaction fees. Throw in fractional share investing and a good user interface, and you have the makings of a very good option. In second place, we have Trading 212, thanks in large part to its overall flexibility with a combination of low fees, great user experience, large number of available assets, and a good interest on cash rate. It's no surprise to see it in the top 3, and I for one am thankful, as it is one of the platforms that I use. And now, in first place, in what would have been a surprising winner to me before I started the rankings, we have Lightyear. With its recent drop in FX fees to 0.1%, it scored consistently well in each category. Its only real letdown at this point is the number of assets available on the platform, but I would expect this number to increase as they grow their user base. But here's the important thing that I want to stress. The best platform for you depends on how you invest. Trading 212 is one of the best all-rounders for most people. InvestEngine is ideal for long-term ETF investors. Hargreaves Lansdown is great if you want maximum choice and support. AJ Bell offers a really solid balance between cost and flexibility. Interactive Investor works well for large portfolios. Lightyear is a newer platform with low costs and a very clean user interface. Freetrade keeps things simple and beginner friendly. XTB and IG are better suited for more advanced users. Vanguard is perfect if you want to stick to low cost, long-term fund investing. And Fidelity remains a strong, trusted option focused on funds. So while this ranking gives a clear overall winner, your best choice might look completely different. If you found this helpful, drop a like, it really helps the channel, and let me know in the comments which platform you're using and whether you agree with this ranking. Thanks for watching, I'll see you in the next one. And as always, keep it simple, keep it realistic, and keep it effortless.